Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Football at the Bar. We're your host. I'm TA.
And this is G Money.
And we are here to talk about some football.
Yes,
and
we are.
Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We have gotten through an 18-week season.
Yes, we
17 games, and we have gotten to the end of the season. And now we are sitting over here and getting ready for the very next season, which is the playoff time. And this is so exciting for us. We do so much build up getting up to the first game of the season, and then it's like, oh my God, this season is so long. We get through that 18 weeks, 17 games, and then now we're here at the playoffs. And so with that being said, we are brought to you by ATB Media Network. We truly appreciate all of you that have joined us for the entire season, all of you that have joined us throughout the season, all of you that are possibly seeing us for the very first time now. We appreciate you, and you got to remember, you got to like, you got to subscribe, and you got to download for us. Like, subscribe, and download. And like our man Bomani says, if you don't give us 5 stars, you're obviously a hater. So with that being said, I'm super fired up. This is the end of the year. And so much that has gone into this season for us, just like the individual players. And so want to jump into it. And before that, want to sit over here. Look. And I'm drinking something different. You know, I've been on that AKB6 for a while now, but I have, because I love it. But I sat over here and switched it up for today because it's just a new day. And I'm on the Decorlet.
Look at him getting fancy with his French.
I'm trying to get my French game up. It's not let, it's le. I mean, Decorlet. And what are you drinking on?
I went to Old, well, it's not Old Faithful, but New Faithful, which is the Showdowns. I was single malt.
I see you already been sipping because that glass.
Yeah, look, and I gave a couple of teasers.
This man can't even hold himself.
Don't hate the genius.
But hey, there was some great games this week, ladies.
It was though. It really was. I agree with you.
But the real game I've got to talk to you about is that final game of the 18th week of the season, and that is the Bills and the Miami. So much riding on this game, so much placement. Miami wins, they get the number 2 spot. Bills win, they get the number 2 spot. Who has the biggest cojones to sit over and go in there and fight it out, duke it out, and make it happen?
Yeah.
And it's funny, Miami traditionally does extremely well at home. I don't think they've lost at home. They've found a way to win. But this week, you know, they couldn't find a way to win. And that might be a testament to Tua. You might want to have a conversation about Tua. We know our man Josh Allen begged the Miami Dolphins to win the game.
He damn near said, here you go.
Let
me throw 2 picks because I'm throwing it to nobody twice.
Hey, those were egregious. But before we even get on that, just tell me, what were your thoughts about that game?
Well, first of all, what I just said, I thought that it was comical that Josh Allen threw those 2 interceptions early to where it was like, he just can't help himself. He just has to say, oh, I just want to test my arm and launch something into nobody. And there you go. Guess what? They play defense, and you threw it into triple coverage, and they picked it off in the end zone, no less. But I got to say this about Buffalo. The defense, they keyed in on Hill. And they really locked in on him and just tried to limit him as much as they possibly could. And they did it in a really effective manner. And then they got the return, that kick return, obviously.
Hardy.
That changed everything for the outcome of that game because that erased all the stupidity that you saw from Josh Allen.
And it gave the Bills confidence. It gave the Bills that, like, we are not going to lose. We can win this.
Yes.
You know, I believe this game was less of a referendum on Miami being a bad team. You know, we have to take into account and we have to be real with ourselves. This was not a Miami Dolphins team that was at full strength.
No,
and obviously neither were the Bills, and no team at this time of the season is at full strength.
Yeah, they're all walking wounded.
But when you lose your two best players on defense, when you have your second best player and your third best player on offense that are not in the game, you are a little bit wounded. So I do kind of give some type of reprieve for the Dolphins. But the question I have for you is, now that the Bills have some kind of way magically, I mean literally pixie dust magic, secured the second seed, do you really think this team is a team that can go and win the Super Bowl?
No. I don't think that they're going to win the Super Bowl. At the end of the day, they are an AFC team, and I cannot envision, especially how they're presently constructed, them beating the Ravens, unless the Ravens just completely wet the bed and they don't perform at the highest level when their time is called, because they're going to get a bye because they've earned the number one seed. Mm-hmm. But the thing that is very clear to me is Josh Allen will find a way to trick the game off.
Find a way.
He's going to book it. I've heard you say this a couple of times. You say, take a picture of it, circle it, okay.
Write it down and take a picture.
Write it down, take a picture, all of that. Josh Allen is going to trick the game off. He is, and you know what? And Stephon Diggs is going to be inflamed with rage, but that's just what's going to happen. I do think that they have a realistic, more than a puncher's chance to win their first round matchup. I do.
You know what they're playing? They're playing the Steelers.
Yes, but the Steelers are walking wounded.
They're walking wounded, but they're tricky. Yeah. Tomlin can pull something out of his booty, and then boom, next thing you know, you got the opposing team looking silly.
Okay, so Lord help them if they lose to the Steelers at home, no less, because they're going to have a home game.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So if they lose to the Steelers, you know, then you're talking about heads rolling. Then it's going to be like, okay, well, who do we need to fire? Because, oh my God. So I don't expect that, especially also because T.J. Watt, I think, for the Steelers is probably not going to be.
He's not. He has an MLC sprain, so he probably is not going to play. Correct.
So that took a lot of the teeth out of that team. Now,
out of the defense. Yeah.
The truth of the matter is that Tomlin is such a good coach that he just maybe can, let's say, semblance that team and galvanize that team enough to execute at the highest level to upset the Bills, but I don't expect it. I really genuinely expect when you bring Miller back and and as long as Josh Allen doesn't do Josh Allen, I got an itch to scratch kind of things and just throws the ball into nowhere, as long as he doesn't do that, then they should win that game handily.
Well, this is the thing where people get excited. It's like, you know, mano a mano. Obviously, the Steelers are overperforming. The Bills have underperformed and have just caught wind to start performing at the level that they should in the last third of the season. But this is where the great equalizer comes, is the weather. You got to remember, this game is going to be played in Buffalo, in the Northeast. There's going to be winter storms this week.
And that grittiness actually plays well to the Steelers.
Yes, and this is going to be an ugly game. So we saw Josh Allen be cavalier while he's playing in Miami when the weather was relatively well. Well, if he chooses to sit over here and tries to take the moment and say, I'm going to be the man, and try to be overly aggressive in that type of weather environment against a team like the Steelers, where you have a defensive savant and the head coach for the Steelers, you know, even though the Steelers obviously have had some injuries, I think that that he's going to be exposed. So this is a very tricky game for them. I know it kind of looks easy on paper, but when you add that weather component there, Allen might sit over here and get too aggressive and sit over here and figure out a way on how not to win that game.
Well, to me, the bottom line is this. You're going against what was his kid's name? Rudolph?
Yes. who is the third string quarterback, but has played better than the first or second string. That's why he's going to go be starting this game.
So, Josh Allen, if you find a way to lose a game to Rudolph, the third string quarterback, then
with the red nose,
look, your entire future needs to be put into question. At that
point. I mean, he's definitely going to be suspect. I can guarantee that. That's a suspect.
And I don't care if he throws 3 interceptions. The game is just at the end of the day, you have Knox, you have Kincaid, you have what's their number one? I think
Kincaid's hurt.
Diggs is their number one receiver.
Diggs. Their number 2 receiver is hurt. He has you're
talking about Davis?
Yeah, he has a PLC.
I don't care. Look, when you got them guys and you're backup. So then you have Cooks. You have Leonard Fournette that is just put on the active roster.
But you have Hardy who scored that touchdown. Bro. I mean,
I don't care if it's a field goal.
That team is not phenomenal. So let's not anybody think that we're talking about the Bills' offensive weapons are the best in the league. They're not.
No.
But they do have one of the best quarterbacks. And the thing is they have one of the best quarterbacks with the strongest arm, but also is prone to make some of the biggest mistakes.
Yes, but that's all within his own, let's say, his own mind or his own, let's say, just impatience.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little bit impatient. So at the end of the day, look, bro, you're playing against a pedestrian offense. They may, on a good day, put up 10 to 17 points. So all the thing you need to do is you need to just find a way to give, let's say, 3 touchdowns. 3 touchdowns, and you're winning going away. So just don't fuck up.
Well, let's talk about Miami. Let's talk about Miami real quick because Miami, I mean, everybody I'm sure is down on them now. Yeah, everything that's on social media and in the podcast world is everybody's down on Miami. And, I traditionally am not a big fan on giving reprieves, but when you lose your number 1 and your number 2 defensive player, you didn't have for that game your number 2 or your number 3 offensive players in terms of
Waddle and
Mostert. Yep. Like, there was a reason why they lost that game.
Yes.
It definitely does demonstrate that Tua is not a truck, he's a trailer. Because Tua was not able to elevate that team.
Here's where I agree with you because, I have not liked your truck and trailer analogy.
But when you had a chance to see it unfold in front of your eyes, you're like, God damn it, this man knew something.
Maybe just a little bit. Yeah, because Tua looked like a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
But what you saw is that there's no depth behind Waddle. So
there is, but then you make yourself a very mediocre, normal, regular team, and not the exceptional team that you are with both those players on the field.
So when you have Mostert and you have A-Chain, and then you have Waddle and Hill, then you're scary.
But without them,
that perfect assembly,
without them, you can scare. You can scare a cat.
And that's what we saw.
Stone Cold Mystery. But and so the reality is what's funny is that they play the Kansas City Chiefs, and as pedestrian as the Kansas City Chiefs have looked, I think with those absences on defense for Miami, even with the return of the offensive players that were out for the last game, I still don't see them having enough gumption to sit over here and make it happen. Because Tua, what we have seen is Tua in these, gotta have it games. He does not elevate his game. He tries to not make mistakes. And whenever you're trying not to make mistakes or trying not to lose, rather than being focused on winning the game, that's a different paradox in terms of mentality.
Well,
trying not to lose versus I have to win this game are 2 different mental levels that you have to be on.
Yes.
And he tends to revert to, I don't want to lose. And that's not big money quarterback quarterbacking.
Right.
It's not indicative of I'm going to sit over here and go win a Super Bowl.
Well, okay, so I hate to hate on Tua, but I'm gonna just say this is just the reality, right? Mm-hmm. He's like how you've always talked about Purdy, and you know, and I've hated,
they're cousins.
I've disliked your rants on Purdy.
I'm sure you have,
but he needs all his aces to be in position,
just like Purdy.
Just like
Purdy.
You wanted to make sure that I said that, didn't you? Yeah, just like Purdy. Yeah, but he does. He needs guys that are going to be exceptional on both sides of the field from a skill position, and he needs both exceptional running backs to run that scheme efficiently. Now, what he will do, just like Purdy does, is that if he has that,
he looks like $1 million.
Mm-hmm. But if he doesn't have that, and that's why you're not
like
necessarily
a stone cold mystery.
Well, I won't put the mystery label on him, but he looks really average.
Well, here's where the twist is you're not going to not be able to put that mystery label on him if he shits the bed coming up. Because the defenses, you can't do anything about those injuries. But with an offense, Mostert and Waddle will be back for the first round of the playoffs.
I agree. They will be.
But the problem is, and this is where the challenge is you're playing the Chiefs.
Yeah.
You're playing the Chiefs in
Kansas
City in tough weather. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But that's a tough road to hoe.
It is.
When you're not in your environment, when easily could have been. Because that game was for the taking. The real unfortunate thing for the Miami Dolphins is that game was for the taking. You don't have Hardy running back that 96-yard punt return. Mm-hmm. Again, punt return shouldn't be returned. It's not like this is something that happens every single week.
Yeah, it's just run and hit somebody.
All you got to do is run and hit somebody, and they allow that to happen. That's shame on them. And so, what they get moving forward solely rests on the head coaches. McDaniel, we're going to talk about some head coaches in a little bit, but it solely rests on his shoulders, and I don't know about you, but I've been watching the HBO special where they have the in-season deal with the Minnesota with the Miami Dolphins. And McDaniel's with his sweatsuits and the legs up and him sitting over here running around just trying to be cool and trying to be everybody's homie. And not really leading, not really sitting over here. It's one thing to be everybody's friend, and that's all good. But, the one thing I can tell you about another coach that I can kind of compare him to was the Raiders.
Pierce.
Coach. Pierce will sit over and grab an individual by his face mask and lock eyes with him and get real with him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the ability to do that. And so when you're always worried about being friendly with these players and not worried about or necessarily focusing on leading them to the promised land, that's where the difference in leadership is. And for me, Mike McDaniel seems like a great guy, but the reality is I don't know if he has the ability to lead grown men that are aggressive, that doesn't sway them in terms of you being buddy.
Yeah, you know what? That's interesting that you say that because I have made it a point to not watch the Hard Knocks, and for multiple reasons. But the main reason is I didn't want it to slant my view on just the season overall, because I'd already know that it's a TV show at the end of the day. But the thing that I can say about the coach that I've observed just in what he puts out on, let's say, ESPN, right? is that the coach is kind of like, he's like, I'm a cool dude. I know my schemes. I can draw.
And he got all that shit down.
And I know when rubber meets the road, and I know what it will take to win. But the fragility is, but I need all my guys. I need everybody to be in their particular spots. And when you're leading men, it's really about, and we've said this all season, right? But the thing is, you need to be able to galvanize enough spirit within the organization, within the team, within the 53-man roster to handle the adversity. And it's easy when
the times get difficult. When the times get difficult, he doesn't have the galvanization of the team,
or he hasn't shown it. I don't even.
No, he doesn't. Because when you're pussyfooting and just being buddies, and when you can't grab a man by his face mask and say, "Look here, let's get it cracking." When you can't do that because you might get boo-bopped if you do that. And that's the difference of when you try to be a buddy versus when they recognize you as a true leader. They like him. And that's a great thing. They play hard for him. But the thing is when the rubber meets the road, when you get in the mud.
Or do they feel the same faith in like, oh, okay, I don't want to disappoint coach?
Correct. They don't have that feeling. I don't see that. And so that's the biggest problem. And so that's when Mike McDaniel is as smart as he is and as cool as he is, and he taps into that biracialness that he has in terms of sitting over here and relating to players. But at the end of the day, that's really not what he taps into in his real life. That it's cool, but it's not authentic. It's not real.
Or it maybe is authentic, but it's not enough.
No, it's not authentic, and it doesn't resonate.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
say it with your chest.
It's like, I like you. I think you're cool because I see him, and I like him. I think he's cool, but I'm not running through no bricks for this man. Whereas you have Antonio Pierce with catches right here.
Antonio Pierce is
we're going to stop. I know it's festering.
Be careful.
But we're going to get there.
You don't want me to bubble up.
But let's talk about what the Raiders aren't a part of, and that's the playoffs. They haven't got there next year. But I do think if they keep that man, Antonio Pierce, they're going to be there next year. But we're going to talk about him next year. Okay. This year, we don't have the opportunity to talk about him. But what I do want to talk about and go on a little bit of soliloquy about is that how unique this playoffs is. And either you're talking about the NFL writes a mean script in terms of how all this shit's going to unfold, or Murphy's Law, or whatever you call it, to sit over and how all of this unfold to be a perfect, unequivocally thought-provoking, we got to see entertaining first round, because we have 4 revenge games. 4 revenge games. We have Tyreek Hill going to play the Chiefs. Miraculously, some kind of way. That was never in the cards until,
Love it.
Love it. And then we have McCarthy playing against the Green Bay Packers. How that unfolded is pure miraculous. Then we have
Stafford.
No, this is a double revenge. You have Stafford and Goff, double revenge, playing the previous team they played. How that unfolded. Shut your mouth. And then lastly, we have the Texans playing the Browns when the Browns sat over and made that big trade for Deshaun Watson. That's where you make it think it's a script. Like they had this all pre-planned.
Oh my
God. They didn't expect Deshaun Watson to get hurt.
Maybe the refs did it on purpose.
I mean, absolutely insane. But when you have these 4 quintessential games out of the 8 that are coming in the first round of the playoffs, it is truly phenomenal in terms of the type of football we're going to get.
Oh, yeah.
When individuals have heavy hearts and have true beliefs, and I don't want to go as far as say animosity, but definitely have some feelings in the game.
Oh, yeah. We all in our glass house of emotion.
4 of these 8 games mean more than just the playoff win, which is a great thing. All that means is that we're going to have exceptional football in this first week of playoffs. But, for me, we've all seen the playoffs. It's been played out over the course of the last 3, 4, 5 weeks of the season in terms of what those stages and what the seeding is going to be. But really the question is who is a lower seed that is going to be the higher seed in your opinion? That's what
okay. So to me, that's an easy button. Dolphins are going to beat the Chiefs. Write it down.
Whoa. So I owe you some push-ups, and then before this season's over, I'm going to give you some push-ups on camera.
Oh, yes, and you better.
But the beautiful thing is when you say obnoxious, out of control, ridiculous shit like that, when you're talking about a Southern team that plays in warm weather, is going to sit over here and go up north to the Kansas City Chiefs and whoop them in the first round.
All their barbecue.
Without their two best defensive players. That's when you talk
all
crazy.
Their seasoning and their barbecue.
Are you willing to wipe my slate clean and bet 50 push-ups on that?
Now, you be careful.
Are you willing to do that?
I am so willing, and not only will I do it. Hey, go ahead. Look at it. Look at you. Look at you.
Since we've been children, I've been over here to manage to work positive EV deals
just like that. But ladies and gentlemen, you know that this man is going to have to do 100 push-ups.
Hey, if Miami Dolphins beat the Chiefs, I will do 100 push-ups straight. You'll sit there shaking at 42, shaking on them push-ups.
Oh, look. And I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to be like, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Yeah. And he didn't even smoke no. I don't even know how he came with this. With this,
I'm going to get him.
This absolutely tomfoolery of a mindset, but okay, I appreciate that.
You know what it is?
You're
blinded by your Patrick Mahomes love, and I understand it. I do, but you're
blinded by the Raiders, the logo. Imagine if the Raiders had Patrick Mahomes. You would sit over here and say they would never lose any game.
Of course.
So.
But I'm not. But that's not the reality.
What I'm blinded by is that the Kansas City Chiefs happen to have the very greatest quarterback to ever touch a football.
And now,
who's ever touched a football?
In all of your declarations of dribble, of giving love to Patrick Mahomes, you take every opportunity to give this man the highest praise of all kinds.
Hey, you must not know NFL history. You must not know the very initial history of Patrick Mahomes, and then you would sit over and be like, "Oh,
I know
because
his daddy was a pitcher."
Because
I know
because Brady, his first 5 years in the league don't compare to Patrick Mahomes. Nobody in the history of the game does.
Okay,
so that's why I say that.
Okay,
there's a reason why.
Look, for the general public, ladies and gentlemen, there is not a number one fan bigger on Patrick Mahomes than this man right here. He loves him like his child. Okay, he loves that man.
Nice light skin.
Oh my God,
big baby.
It's ridiculous.
No, but here's where the reality is. Is that I appreciate that. Thank you. So I don't have to do any push-ups before the end of the year because
no.
That's
You're going to do 100.
Easy bet. That's an easy bet. But I will tell you this: for me, the team that's going to sit over here and upset a lower team is, one is I'm just brilliant. Even though the Eagles have been playing, even though the Eagles have been playing bad, they're not going to lose.
No, they're not going to lose.
They're not going to lose to Mayfield. Because I'm brilliant, and I can see that.
No.
I'm not clouded by the bullshit. You have your hate for the Raiders being in the same division. You want to hate on Patrick Mahomes. For me, I look at everything objectively, and I know Baker Mayfield is not the quarterback to go to the second.
Find a way
to go to the second round. Exactly, they're not going to go to the second round of the playoffs. Yeah. So, and then when you have on the flip side, you have RG, the quarterback for the Eagles, Hurts, is not going to lose to Baker Mayfield. You can write that down. Baker Mayfield's the first quarterback chosen in his particular draft, and I think Hurts is in the same draft. And if not the same draft, the draft after was picked in the second round.
But the funny thing is about that game, because to me, that was, of all the games, that's almost like a perspective. It is a 50-50 pick 'em. And the only reason that I say that is because how bad the Eagles have looked. On paper, the Eagles should mop the floor with the Buccaneers.
They should, right? But they're not there. But they're not there as a team.
But they are so dysfunctional right now that if you give Baker, who has Evans, who has Godwin, if you give him an opportunity at home in warm weather to, let's say, get up by 10 points, he might mess around and win that game.
Well, let me ask you this: did Evans play this past week?
I didn't watch their game, so
did Godwin play?
Did they? I didn't watch their game.
They did, and guess who they played?
And they won by all but what, 3 field goals?
Guess who they played?
You're gonna say the Panthers. The Panthers.
So the Panthers. So at the end of the day is when Mayweather, because he's hurt right now. Let me keep everything 100. He's hurt right now. When he could only muster up 9 points playing the Panthers, I'm not going to beat.
The funny thing about the Baker Mayfield mania is he just might get lucky enough to win that game. And I'm not counting it. Trust me, if I was going to bet $5, I'd be like, I'm going to bet on the Eagles. However, he does have a puncher's chance for 2 main reasons.
He has a puncher's chance.
He's at home.
Yeah.
His defense is playing better.
Yep.
That will probably, and maybe the third is he has those stud wide receivers. So, I don't want to test that game with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah. I would, because at the end of the day, it's all about quarterbacks. And even though this quarterback is playing hurt in terms of the Philadelphia Eagles, he's still far better than Mayweather.
Jalen Hurts. Yeah. Jalen Hurts is arguably one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. So Lord help him if it's almost like what we said about Josh Allen. It's like, bruh, if you find a way to wet the bed on that one, oh man, your offseason is going to be horrible.
It's going to be rough. But let me ask you this. What's the most exciting
The most exciting game to me is the one that we just touched on. We touched on the outskirts of it. Dolphins, Chiefs. By far, Tyreek Hill going back to the team that he won a Super Bowl with, and that they decided that they weren't going to pay him because they've said, oh, we don't need it. And you know what? And then they validated them not paying him because they won the Super Bowl 2 years later, right?
And then you got a quarterback that is underthrowing him in Miami. So imagine how much he's going to be underthrown in 0 degree weather. Because that's what the weather is projected to be at. 0 degrees, feeling like minus 17.
Okay.
So imagine Hawaiian-ass Tua throwing in that weather.
Okay, but then the flip side of that is, imagine all of the hooks that are on the receiving core, whether we talk about Tony, Shay, it doesn't even matter.
But you know who's not a hook? You know who's not a hook?
Who, Kelsey?
So Kelsey's a hook now. He's been with
No. Kelsey's a Hall of Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer. He's not a Hall of Famer. He is not having a Hall of Fame season. But you know who's not a hook? The greatest person who's ever touched a football.
Oh my God!
And so when Jesus of Nazareth. Oh my God! And you compare a Tua who's from Hawaii playing in 0 degree weather.
Never against Jesus of Nazareth in his own arena. I understand. So what you're telling me is that it does not matter because he's going to walk on water. He's going to float. I
can't wait till next week.
Oh my God!
So when I get to sit over here and be in my just in my greatness.
Just get ready. You need to prepare yourself now for the 100 push.
No, I don't need to prepare myself.
Okay.
The audience needs to prepare the motherfucking that I'm going to sit over here and be talking about if they happen to lose. But let me give you my game. And this might shock individuals, but I think we have a Patrick Mahomes, not 2.0, but like a baby Patrick and Stroud.
Yeah.
Coming in front of us.
I feel you with that one.
And I could see them beating Cleveland because again, quarterbacks are the determining factor. And when you're talking about our man with Cleveland, the fourth quarterback that they brought in, and he's had a hell of a run. With Joe Flacco, when you talk about
Joe Flacco,
when you talk about Joe Flacco, versus Stroud is on the precipice to sit over and push Mahomes of being the greatest quarterback in the NFL.
The funny thing about Joe Flacco has that postseason magic. So what?
He did it once in his life.
It doesn't matter. He did it though.
Right, but it doesn't mean he's going to do it this time.
Oh no!
I believe that Stroud and his greatness is going to be, unfortunately, the undoing of that team that's had a great run into the playoffs with all the adversity that they've had to experience.
And the only reason that I will, dare I say, retort to your general premise is because what I really look at is the Browns have a Super Bowl caliber formidable defense. And what it really requires in that instance is, Houston, they don't have all of their offensive faculties that they have won. What is it, the guy's name? Dang, or the wide receiver that got hurt?
Tank.
He's not there.
Mm-hmm. He was a rookie, so it's all right. They can survive without him.
Well, I don't know if you're going to do that against a Super Bowl caliber defense that the Browns have. And Ford is really good, and you know what? And Cooper will be there.
My fantasy team would tend to disagree.
Okay,
he didn't do nothing for my.
Joe Flacco is supposed to lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
However, that defense is so scary that I know that the Baltimore Ravens hope that the Houston at home, Texans beat them, because they don't want to see a galvanized, inspirited Browns team, because the Browns have lost for like eons.
Well, I'm waiting for the Flacco to do a Flacco. And I love his story, but at the end of the day, I love Stroud's stories better.
Sure, but Stroud is a rookie, though.
And young, great talent. Has he played like a rookie? He's played like a monster.
No, he has.
And I expect him to continue to do the same.
Okay. So, and I'm not going to fight you on that at all. Only thing I will say is that defense that he's about to go against in this playoff game is a scary defense.
If Flacco does Flacco things that he's been doing this season, he's going to throw for 300 yards, and the Texans won't be able to compete.
Okay.
But if Flacco's, then the Texans are going to win. That's my big upset, take that I'm going to have for everybody.
So just so I'm clear, who do you see winning that game?
Texans.
You say the Texans are going to win that game. Okay. Texans at home. Texans and Browns. You're saying Texans all day.
Correct. And not all day, but I'm saying Texans. So let's talk about the Black Friday. Black Friday is one of my most favorite days of the season.
Okay.
And it's not because I want to see individuals lose their job. That's definitely nothing that I definitely want to see.
Sure.
But what I care about is the fans. There's so many fans out here that have spent thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars on theirs. There's so many fans that sit over here, might not be season ticket holders, but go out and buy, the $200 plus jerseys, the apparel, that sit over here and passionately sit over here and watch the game, just like you do with the Raiders, but don't get the result that they deserve, that they've earned, that they've stood over here and passionately sacrifice for. So this is what I love about Black Monday. Black Monday is that Monday after the last game, them coaches that got to go that are dragging teams down and are negatively affecting the fan base, get them up out of here. So I love today, because what today does, at the end of this day, what happens is you have what could be.
Mm-hmm. There's like a new opportunity.
It's a new opportunity. It's a new belief of what could happen for this team. And so today we've seen a couple of coaches get blown out.
Yeah,
we've seen
Ron
Rivera get his monkey behind up out of there. And I'm going to talk about Rivera in a quick second. Both of these coaches I can't stand. The second coach is the Atlanta Falcons. First of all, Arthur Smith, that I told y'all this dude had to get up out of here, and he showed who he was.
You have been on Arthur Smith's bumper for about 4 or 5 weeks now. So
you can't have players like Bijan Robinson and like Pitts and like London, and you can't figure out how to make it happen. We knew he was a stone cold mystery, and then guess what? I don't give a fuck who his daddy is.
Okay. Well,
his daddy, who was the head of, or who started FedEx. I don't care who his daddy is.
This is let the public know how much you've been reading and doing background checks. Man. So you were like almost like a.
I'm in these streets, and then we had
investigating.
And then we had a man who was the defensive coordinator for the Giants, Wink Martindale, who resigned. They allowed him to resign and not get fired because he just couldn't get along with the head coach. And the stories were about 4 or 5 weeks ago that it was about to take a fade, and they were about to fight in the meeting rooms. And they kind of kept it hush hush. And then he stood over here and resigned at the end. So we have those 3 coaches, 2 head coaches, 1 defensive coordinator, but we also have had a couple of other coaches that have been fired thus far.
Yeah, and we have some that are like pending where you don't know, because you want to say Belichick, but it's like, we don't know.
Belichick is probably one of those that's going to probably be gone. I mean, you have a team that's had 20 years of success. You can't have the 2 past seasons and that lack of success. More like 3, and then believe that he's going to be able to keep his job. It doesn't matter what he's done in the past. This is a today business in the NFL.
What have you done for me
lately?
What have you done for me lately? Janet Jackson style. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, can't happen. So let's talk about this. When we look at these firings, what coach hasn't been fired that you believe maybe needs to be fired?
Okay, so here's going to be a kicker that I already know you don't agree with, but I'm going to say it anyway. Brian Daboll. Now, it sounds insane because the man just won.
Let's fire the coach of the year from last year.
Yeah, he was coach of the year, but I don't know if it was him or him and the general manager, but they decided to keep their Bush League quarterback.
Coaches coach. General managers work with personnel. So don't sit over here and try to believe that tomfoolery into him.
Okay, well, the reason why the New York Giants won the last, let's say 3 out of the last 4 games was because of their defense. And so now what you just explained to me is that the defensive coordinator who basically put that defense together to make them legitimate resigned. And their offense has been pedestrian most of the year.
Well, no, so he hasn't been pedestrian with what's the brother's name that's been the quarterback there that used to be for the Bills?
What are you talking about?
What's his name?
No, bro, you got to give me a name, bro. Because look,
you don't know who the quarterback has been? Who
for the Giants?
No, yes.
Oh, you talking about Tyrod Taylor?
Tyrod Taylor.
Okay, well,
no. What I want to say is that validity to what you're saying is Tyrod Taylor has been the backup. He was hurt for a little bit. They didn't put Tyrod Taylor in there. They wanted to put Danny Cutlets.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito up in there. And so, or Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito. And so when you put Tommy DeVito in there over Tyrod Taylor, who is a proven quarterback in this league, who led the Bills to their very first playoff run in terms of where we're at now with the Buffalo Bills. He was a quarterback that spearheaded that, and they were out of the playoffs for 15 years. Mm-hmm. And this is a quarterback that you sat over here and wanted to sit on the bench for Tommy DeVito. That right there makes what you're saying valid.
Okay, so only thing that you did was that you doubled down on
unequivocally. Yes, I'm not hating.
Look, the fact that DeVito was in there and Tyrod basically did everything that they needed to do to make their offense efficient.
Do you know how great his offense is compared to Tommy DeVito's and Danny Dimes? He's 3 times better in the most unique most specific offensive statistics in terms of like EPA per play and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. He was 3 times better than those two quarterbacks.
The retardation,
egregious. It's egregious.
It's egregious. Mm-hmm. So, hello. This is why the same guy that you want to say, okay, yeah, he made Coach of the Year because there was literally no expectations for the Giants.
And when expectations came, they shit themselves.
No, they exceeded them for 1 year. And then they proceeded to pay the guy who was just a guy because their quarterback was athletic but couldn't read defenses at all. So, okay, you paid that guy. Mm-hmm. You have marginal to, let's say, maybe slightly above average wide receivers, and
I wouldn't go that
shit
far.
The bed. Mm-hmm. And Tyrod excelled. Mm-hmm. Now, the fact that you decided to pay DeVito, which is, I feel like I'm over here watching.
No, he didn't play DeVito. Played Danny Dimes.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, after you had a season-ending injury to your number one quarterback, then you played DeVito, and then it was like he didn't do bad, but he looked basically like, all right, I'm getting the Goomba from the Mafia, New Jersey Mafia, like I'm watching a HBO series type of dude, and then he got hurt. And then you put in Tyrod, and then all of a sudden it magically works. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? That is a horrible, poor assessment from the head coach. The head coach should have said, Tyrod Taylor is our next guy in line, period. Because any NFL franchise needs to be like, we are in the business of wins and losses. And we need to be about winning all the time.
I agree.
And they waited too long.
But there's a marketing component there, and this is the East Coast. But I agree with you. Now for me, the coach that should be up out of here is Bill Belichick.
See, I wasn't even expecting you to say that.
No, I gotta throw you off.
Oh, look at you!
I gotta throw you off.
Look at you. Okay.
Bill Belichick has garnered a cachet that he should have the benefit of the doubt. But the reality is he's been given the benefit of the doubt over the last couple of years, and he hasn't been able to right the ship. And here's where the reality, he's 70 years old or about to be 70 years old, and the reality is the game can quite possibly pass you by. What worked in the 80s when you were great, or in the early 90s, or even in the mid-90s, even in the late 90s,
oh, look at you. You giving it, granted, he's been around that long.
He's been around that long. Shit worked. Hard coaching, keeping it clean and keeping it blank and not showing any favoritism and not having any music at practice and all that shit worked back then. Here's where the reality is. That shit doesn't work now. The Patriots way doesn't work now. Now, I'm not saying he's wrong. Because I would be an ode to that type of leadership.
Yeah.
But the reality is these young bucks We've seen it. You've seen it with my son, with my kids. These young bucks are different than what they were when we were raised. And so, what would have been right for us is completely wrong for them. Yeah. And so he has not evolved, adjusted with the times.
I don't disagree.
And so, the reality is that he's going to be able to break the all-time head coaching wins record because he's going to sit on and coach for the next 4 years. For the next 4 years, that the win percentage is not going to be great enough to sit over here and truly deem him as the very best coach. He's going to elongate his time without Brady to sit over here and perform at a mediocre level or lower and not get the result that individuals would expect from him. So the reality is and I think that we all know the writing's on the wall. He's going to be out, but he's going to get a next shot instantaneously, as if everybody else doesn't realize the game has passed him by.
The funny thing about Belichick is this: it's not X's and O's with him; it's the dogs and bros. So the dogs.
Who's the dogs?
My dog. You my dog. You my bro. You my bro. He doesn't connect with his players the same way that when they feared him and they revered him, they played for him because of the fear and revere. Do you think that I think that because of his general reputation, he might be able to reconstruct that in, let's say, a Chargers uniform.
But no, that's not the key. The key is what team is he going to? And I don't think the Chargers is ultimately the team. He has to go to a team that has a proven quarterback because he's proven that he can't win without a proven quarterback.
That's why.
The reality is they have so many financial challenges that the team is sitting over here facing that might not be a team that he can thrive with. It might be a team that he cannot win 3 to 5 games with. He can win 5 to 8 games with, but this is not a team that he can win a Super Bowl with. I don't think there's a team out there other than, I think the best team for him is the Commanders.
Wow.
Because the Commanders have a strong offense and a decent defense. They gave away some great defensive players, but the defense isn't so without talent that he can't make something of it. And then when you have one good draft where he can pick up his defensive people, he can make that offensive team, you give him a quarterback, that they pick second or third.
Sure.
You give him a quarterback, and then you allow him to pick defense after that. They have enough there that he could actually make that work. He can't make it work with the Chargers.
Okay, fine. But what I would actually argue is if I was the Commanders, I would hire Bieniemy.
The only Bieniemy job that's available is the Panthers.
Magic Johnson is over there now, mind you.
Magic Johnson can stutter his ass all he wants. Them folks is not going to sit over here and put somebody in that position when they have the number 2 pick and about to get a start. And I just say this with all due respect. Black candidates don't have an opportunity to lead top-level quarterbacks. They have the number 2 pick. They're slated for the number 2 pick, which means they're going to get Drake May. Or Caleb Williams if the number 1 pick picks Drake May. Or the cat from LSU.
Okay.
When you have a top-line quarterback, they never, ever, ever give that to a brother. This is not going to happen. So that's not an option. They're going to sit over here and make sure they give a top quarterback hoping and wishing that they grow into something special so they can make this coach look special. They don't ever give that position to a brother. So The only job that's available to Eric Bieniemy is when everybody says no to the Panthers, and mark my words, and we're going to sit over and come back here and say how much of a genius I am. Mark my words. When everybody says no to the Panthers because of their owner, and then they're looking for somebody high end, That's when they're going to sit over here and turn to Eric Bieniemy and try to whisk him in as if he's going to be the savior.
Well, you know what? I think the only reason that I will disagree with you, even though I understand where you're coming from, I do. But what I would say is that this has been a season of seeing how we used to do it fail. Mm-hmm. And it has failed across the board. So I think that owners really think about one thing and one thing only. They just realize is that I want to be a winner. This is the grand experiment. I know you feel very strongly about that. Okay. But what I would say is
I'm going to do the cabbage patch on you. Yeah, okay. When I get deemed correct.
Okay, but there is an argument that could say that these owners care about one thing mostly, and they care about winning.
They only care about money. And when the NFL, you don't have to win to make money.
No, but
there should be.
No, but winning is symbiotic to money. So there could be a change. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Oh, you're about to see.
I'm not saying
you're about to see how gifted I am.
But I'm not saying you're right either.
Call me Negrodamus. You're about to see. You're about to see how gifted I am. I know these individuals. And Eric Bieniemy, because
you said it. You said you know these individuals like you have over here mint juleps with him on Tuesday. You don't know.
Just remember I told you.
Okay.
Eric Bieniemy. Obviously, I've seen multiple franchises say we're interviewing Eric Bieniemy to not give him the job. And guess what? I hear the Panthers. We're interviewing all these top coaches for them, none of them to accept that role. And then the only individual that accept that role, and they're going to justify it by he worked with Patrick Mahomes, and now we have this young quarterback. He's going to be able to do wonders for him.
Sure.
And this is going to be the justification for this individual. I have to take this absolutely egregious job.
The only other part of this is that these guys, these owners, with all of whatever you want to say about them, they are smart. And they do realize that they're probably tired of losing. At the end of the day, they're the ones who pull the triggers, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, mind you, he just told you, you might be smarter than these billionaires.
But look, at the end of the day, I get it. At the end of the day, I do genuinely get it. They have these decisions to make as owners. But what the thing is just like peers, they also want to win the ring. They want to win the ring too. So if it ends up being a guy that I maybe have not traditionally picked, maybe I need to think twice about it. You know who I think is going to think about that? Mark Davis. Mark Davis is over here looking at Pierce like, whoop, whoop, whoop. Maybe I need to think about it.
I've had to educate you on this. Unfortunately, they're looking at Harbaugh and not focusing in on the individual that's right there in front of their face, which is, I told you, these individuals, they having a B by their name doesn't make them smart. You have an individual like Mark Davis that doesn't sit over here and immediately, instantaneously, within the parameters of the rules, sit over here and anoint Antonio Davis.
You know what?
Whoa. He is sitting over here and looking for outlets when everything and everybody has shown him, and including his previous mistakes that he did with
Bisaccia.
When you still sit over here still thinking that Harbaugh is the real question we need to have. They only want individuals that look like them that are comfortable with them.
No, I think that this is a little bit of your Kansas City Chief hate.
Oh.
Look, I'm going to tell you this. I respect Mark Davis, and I actually think that Mark Davis is a very sage and wise individual.
If you respect an individual with that haircut, shame on you. Shame on you.
You know what? And we ain't going to have too much of this Raider talk.
That haircut is obnoxious.
Okay. So
it's obnoxious.
Haircut aside, Mark Davis is a very, let's say, intuitive individual, and I don't care if you don't agree.
Hey, hold on. What was your last coach?
Stop touching me.
What was your last coach?
Stop touching me.
What was your last coach?
That our last coach was. What are you talking about? Oh, well.
What was your last coach?
I don't want to talk about that. Okay.
Pigeon nuts. But he was so intuitive, he would have got pigeon nuts.
You're going to make me get violent, okay?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I wanted to sit over here and bring you back to reality.
You and all your Kansas City Chief hate, as a resident Raider, I need you to allow me to tell you what we're about to do.
Yeah, please.
Mark Davis, he's going to hire Pierce, and he's going to hire the GM.
How many push-ups are you willing to bet on that?
Now, he
has a wherewithal to sit over and do that because I want Pierce to get. So I would happily do some push-ups for Pierce getting hired.
You want to add another 50? I don't even know if you can get to 150 push-ups.
No, I can't. But let's bet 30.
30
push-ups.
30 push-ups.
That he's not smart enough to hire Pierce.
No.
And I want to do 30 push-ups.
Mark Davis is 1,000% smart, and he understands a winner when he sees it in front of him. Because
when you say he's
1,000%
smart, but and he has a fucking haircut that's like Dumb and Dumber.
Stop talking about my owner now.
Dumb and Dumber.
I don't appreciate you. Look, at the end of the day, the man has wanted a winner, and we haven't won, and he's been frustrated by it. Just like his father did in his latter years, he has been trying to throw his frustration against a wall, and we haven't delivered. But guess what? He stumbled upon a leader.
Miraculously.
Okay. He stumbled upon a leader, but I think that Mark Davis is clear and cognizant enough to realize that he has a leader standing in front of him.
Shame on you. Shame on you for having that belief in an individual.
No, I believe it, and I'm gonna say it with my chest. Okay. Mark Davis is gonna hire Antonio Pierce.
I want my 30
and the GM.
I want my 30 motherfucking push-ups.
First of all, you need to do all your gajillion.
No, we haven't bet. We haven't bet the first. That has to suckle itself out.
I don't want to go down that wormhole, but we all know you said it on record how many push-ups you're going to have to do.
Okay.
So Mark Davis is going to hire Antonio Pierce. He has to go through the Rooney Rule things.
That's why he's looking at Harbaugh, because the Rooney Rule.
No, Harbaugh is a media fabrication. Harbaugh should not be the Raiders coach. And then it's almost like the whole point of any coach is you want a coach to lead men. He has galvanized men. So now it's just about scheme after that. You've gotten through the hardest part.
Okay.
Why would he try to figure out something else?
You're right.
That's dumb with a capital D.
Okay.
He's not going to do that. The man is smart.
What?
The man.
Do you see his haircut?
He was smart enough to go to Vegas.
Oh, my Lord. Okay. So.
Okay.
This is what I have for you. This is what I have for you.
This is what it is. Stop talking about my team.
So here's what the twist is. What final takes do you have? Because we're at the end of the regular season, and we've talked a whole lot of stuff about a whole lot of players. What end of season takes do you want to sit over here and elaborate on, get off your chest, and to sit over here and speak on?
Okay.
So this is your time. You're on the soapbox. This is your time.
Bless you. Okay. Disney Prince. Golden mullet. Yes. Disney Prince golden mullet. You throw the ball too high.
Stone Cold mystery. Stone Cold.
You asked me to go.
No, I agree. But I'm just saying, didn't all your buddies say he was generational?
Sure.
Is he generational? Is he a generational talent?
No. Okay. Granted, You've had a high ankle sprain. You've had a shoulder injury. You've had all these things. But one of the things you need to work in the off season is that you throw the ball too high. So the bottom line is that you can read defenses and you have a rocket arm. But the next level for you is bring your touch into the equation. If you bring touch into the equation, you could be a person that is special. But now Stroud is only going to get better. You're on the clock, buddy.
I have a quick question for you.
You're on the clock.
Who's better, Stroud or
the Disney Prince?
Or the Disney Prince?
Stroud.
Okay.
And
when Stroud was coming into the league, did they say he was generational, or did
they did?
No,
they did. No, they did. He got listen.
He got vitriol, and they said he couldn't read defense.
Oh, you talking about Stroud? I'm sorry.
Yes, because he couldn't pass a quote unquote test.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Disney.
No.
Was
Stroud recognized as generational?
No, but he proved that he was.
Proved that he was. When has our Disney Prince proved that he was generational? That all these bright minds said he was.
He has yet to.
Okay. I was just wondering.
Okay, so and you know what? But what I will say to you is, the Disney Prince with his golden mullet has a chance. You know the last let's say hyped guy that has proven his worth.
Who was that?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow was the last guy. And guess what? Church on the Moon.
And Joe Burrow is that dude.
Okay. Who's before Joe? Who's before Joe Burrow? Who's before Joe Burrow?
That was like, you mean
pronounces the one. Who was that?
Who was it?
Andrew Luck.
Oh, yeah.
Was he ever the generational?
He was.
So we have Burrow, who's been hurt every single year since he's been to the league and made a Super Bowl. Obviously didn't win it. Made a Super Bowl. So outside of him,
Andrew Luck just had bad luck. He had an offensive line that couldn't block for him, and then
they went and got him the greatest offensive line ever. And then what did he do?
No.
What did he do?
No, he got smacked around.
No. After that, when they got the very best offensive line in the league, better than the Cowboys, what did he do?
He didn't make it to the Super Bowl.
No, what did he do?
I don't know. You
he said, "I'm done. I can't do this."
He got tired of getting hit.
My testicles aren't big enough.
Andrew Luck was a very good player.
He was rock solid at best, and guess what tag they put on him? Generational.
But he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. Thank you.
Wasn't. Sure.
And neither is our Goldilocks individual. He wasn't generational. And guess who else ain't generational? Purdy ain't generational either.
You know what?
So all these Mickey Mouses aren't generational.
Now, you are about to have me go ahead. Somebody needs to hand me. I'm about tired of you talking about Purdy. Purdy is good.
Hey,
he is just.
He's as good as Tua.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just hey, Purdy, this is my rant. Let me get to my rant. There are some players out here that I've been harsh on over the season, but the one I've been most harsh on is Purdy. And do I not respect his game? Unequivocally, I do. If you sit over here and say Purdy is an MVP, that is going too far. He's not an MVP.
See, that's how I know you all in your
He's above average quarterback, just like Tua is. He's not a Stroud. He's not.
You need to go ahead and take a sip there, because I already know.
He's not a Stroud.
Look,
he's not a Mahomes. He's not a Allen. Allen, as much as mistakes he is, he's above average. He's not a Hurts. He's not a Lamar Jackson. Get these Mickey Mouses up out of here and don't ever put them in the MVP conversation when you're talking to me, because I will eviscerate them. Dak ain't an MVP individual. I will eviscerate all weakness up out of here. Either you are church on the move or get the fuck on.
Well,
and Dak ain't that. Tua ain't that. And Purdy for goddamn sure ain't that.
Well, look. Okay, so if we talk about who's going to have the end, who's going to win in the end, right? With all your grandiose vitriol, okay. Guess who's going to be holding the trophy at the end of the day?
Lamar Jackson.
Purdy.
So this is when I don't even want to say it.
Go ahead.
But this is when I can't even say it. This is when the mindset is debilitated.
Okay.
When you sit over here and say, we've already seen this. Purdy had the opportunity to take the MVP. And guess what? He has mice nuts. And he chose not to do it. And guess who had big cojones? Lamar Jackson, who chose to take it. Please don't sit over here and tell me Purdy's going to some kind of way grow some cojones and shed his mice nuts and win the Super Bowl. I think we all know that's not going to happen.
Okay.
I think we all know that.
So this is going to be very interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be fascinating. This is going to be so good because you are going to be so upset when Purdy is holding that trophy up at the end.
If Purdy holds that trophy up,
my God!
If Purdy holds that trophy up, you're going to see me slap myself in front of everybody in America.
Yes.
30,000 individuals watch this show. You're going to see me slap myself because that's not going to happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, wait for the slap.
Okay, so let's get down to it because we're now in the when the rubber meets the road at the crux of the show.
Yeah.
Who, in your opinion, wins the Super Bowl?
The 49ers. And I joke. I ain't even worried about it because those are. If I were predicting the Super Bowl, I think the Super Bowl is going to come down to the Ravens and 49ers.
Who's going to win?
I think the 49ers are going to win. I just believe at the end of the day, even though there are injuries, and even though I think the best quarterback out of the two teams, Lamar Jackson is a better quarterback than Purdy. But I think pound for pound, talent for talent, from every position on the field, every position offensively and defensively, I just think that the 49ers will overwhelm them with all of the talent they have. From the running back position to the wide receiver position to the tight end position to the everything on down the line. They are just the better team.
Ladies and gentlemen, the better team got rocked by 30 already. But the better team that got rocked by 30 at their home field on Christmas is going to win the Super Bowl. Hey, but have a nice day. Church on the move. You are delirious. You've been drinking too much, and this is why I have to cut your alcohol consumption.
Cut me off, and
I have to,
and then you're going to eat a crow pie.
Okay.
Because it's going to be so bad.
I just,
oh, my God.
I just want this crow pie. So with that being said, I appreciate you. Love you.
Hey, I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
We in the playoffs, baby. And it's showtime. And we're going to sit over here and figure all this out over the next 5-6 weeks. But I appreciate all of you. Like, subscribe, download. Church on the Move. G-Money.
I don't need to change you again. I
appreciate getting your cheap booty cheeks. Church.
All right.